Okay, here we have the product evidence resulting from the Reflect Action participatory workshop that I facilitated last September. This particular learner, whose name has been protected on this for data protection purposes, it's fairly evident to me whilst looking at her product evidence that she is not indeed what we would class a literacies learner. The level of literacy evident within this river is fairly high, and indeed following a short discussion after the workshop, she informed me that she had a 3 for standard grade English, which puts her above the level with which I can accredit within the activity agreement group of which this learner is a member. This young lady started her river with her birthday, and interestingly then put her little brother's birthday as the next key moment in her life. I thought that was quite an interesting insight into her views on family, and kind of gives me an indication of what sort of person she may be. The next key moment that she refers to is starting primary school, and another defining point that she makes about family was that she's too scared of her mum and dad to have caused any problems at primary school, and that she really liked her teacher. Getting a lollipop was obviously a big feature of her first day at school. She also mentions that she cried on her last day of primary school, which again tells me that education is not something that she's fearful of, and that she was a wee bit nervous to start high school, because the next comment that she made is, oh no, high school. No friends in the class. She writes down the class that she was put in. The class was really big. What happens at lunch? And these are just some of the common fears that our young people experience when you consider the difference between primary school and high school and that transition. And indeed she's then participated in a further transition by leaving high school and coming here, but we'll get to that in a sec. She then says that in 4th year that was another key defining moment, and if you look, she's actually used rapids and written the words out of control on her river, saying that she struggled with the exams, that she was under pressure from her parents because her brother was really clever. She started smoking and drinking, and perhaps that was just her rebelling against the constraints of formal and compulsory education. She also mentioned that she had different friends, suggesting that she's always had friends, and of course I don't really know this at this point. So you can see she's got a wee Saturday night treat, and I think that's meant to be a bottle and a glass, so obviously she's just trying to visualise her drinking. She then dropped out of school, and it was the longest grounding ever. Again, that suggests that she's got a really supportive family. Some of the young people we work with, you know, it wouldn't make any difference if they were grounded or not, they would still go out. She's then kind of suggesting that the careers advice she got was rubbish. The river started slowing down. Perhaps she started feeling a little bit more in control of her life. But I think it's interesting that she's been getting a little bit of pressure from her family, probably about what to do with her life in this transition. And she's used a lifeguard station to signify whether or not she needs help. This group were actually on a lifeguard course yesterday, so I think it's interesting that she's used that visual. She's saying that she's got a really good social life. Again, all of this is indicating that she's quite active within society, that she's got lots of friends, and that she's questioning in quite a mature way, what now? This really gives me a lot of initial interview information without actually really speaking to this young person, and is quite insightful in comparison to me just sitting down and having a chat with the young person. And she participated really well, as we can see by the product evidence that's been provided. In comparison to this young lady, if we have another look at the second learner's river, there are a couple of pointers here, and it's really this learner that this session has been aimed at, not alienating and increasing their participation. This learner again has started with his date of birth, probably because he was told that that would be a good starting point. Again, his name's been protected. But you can see the level of information, the level of literacy, actual written word here is very, very limited. He has written down the name of his school, and I know that school in this area as being a school for those with additional needs, physical and learning difficulties. He was obviously quite happy at that school, judging by the size of the grin on his face. And I think what has been significant in this one is it looks like a bridge before Fir Park School and then a bridge after Fir Park School, and then he's managed to write the words hub and I want a job, and I think that might be a car, kind of giving some indications of this young man's aspirations in life, which is just like any person in this area. You know, they want to leave school, they want to get a job, they want to get a car, they want to get a home, they want to have a family. So just because this learner's attended a school for those with additional needs doesn't mean that his aspirations are particularly different from another learner. But I would also know through my professional knowledge that he wouldn't have any qualifications because learners within that school are not on the regular curriculum, if you like, and don't sit any formal SQA qualifications, which I think is a shame, because they're just as entitled to access the curriculum as any other young person. And indeed, as part of this programme here, any written work with which this learner produces, I can embed into an accredited programme and allow him the opportunity to go for some SQA core skills qualifications from level 2 up to level 4, level 4 being the equivalent of a grade 4 standard grade. Level 2 being significantly lower than that. But I think it's interesting that he's been quite creative. You know, I think we've got some fish there, a little dubious in nature, some trees, and the car. And certainly he's participated in the session. He's produced a piece of work that says just as much as the one below it, but we can see it's a significantly different piece of product evidence that I think is quite interesting to compare. That the top learner would certainly be the targeted learner within this session, but equally the learner that we looked at first is perfectly capable and willing to participate in the same session and have very, very different results. Thank you.